So first of all, welcome to my viewers. And this is Ronald and Petrina. They are the owners of a company called Planet Wellness.
Yes.
Now, Petrina, I've met previously. Well, we've met because we've met online, haven't we?
Yes.
So Petrina is a qualified nutritionalist, and Ronald is a qualified, let me get this right, iridologist. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
So you guys tell me a bit about yourselves, and I'm going to tell my viewers exactly how you can help them with their eczema issues, because obviously in my previous videos, I've explained how eczema and inflammation in the gut or the state of the body are completely linked, and that eczema is a symptom of an issue with your body. So you guys are the experts. So thank you, first of all, for taking the time to speak with me.
Yep.
And let's just go for it, really.
Sure, of course.
So Petrina can explain a lot, add to it,
So I'm actually a qualified accountant, and just like many people, when you grow up, you're given certain foods to eat because of your culture, your background, and you think that's great, that's it. It tastes good, so it must be good, right? And then as I grew up, I found that you needed to actually change and move away from your culture at times as well, because food, a lot of people, we just eat for the taste. We don't really think about what nutrition is actually giving it to us. So from there, I actually learned that, certain foods, even though we're brought up with the culture saying that that's good for you, it may not be good for you. So you need to abstain from it or eat less of it. And as I learned more, I found that, a lot of herbs, vegetables, fruits would be more that you need to concentrate on. Obviously, you can eat things like grains and, other things like bread, pasta and all that. However, you need to figure out whether that is going to be suitable for you as well, and how you actually balance your plate.
Well, because we're all unique, aren't we? So what works for one doesn't work for another.
Exactly. And, we talk about things like even drinking like cow's milk. It may not be suitable for certain cultures.
Yeah.
So I learned all that throughout the last 8 years or so. And obviously when I met Ronald, he's got many, many more years of experience. So I actually learned as well how to add more herbs into the food as well, which a lot of us don't do. What I do recall is when I was growing up, whenever we went to, say, like a restaurant to eat, we would be, there'll be like certain herbs like coriander or, parsley put on the dish as a decoration.
That's mainly solid decorative, isn't it? So.
I still remember I was actually instinctively always eating the herbs, and the rest, everyone else at the table would just say, "Oh, that's just decoration. Don't eat it." And I'm just grabbing and eating it.
But it tastes good too.
Exactly. So that's how we started, and just you want to carry on?
Yeah. What happened is that how we met was extraordinary. I started I started clinical work in Perth and Melbourne and so on. Did all of Australia, and then in 2004 I went to Singapore for 2 years because I was asked to go there and open a clinic there. So 2 years in Singapore, and I treated a lot of Chinese, Malaysian, Indians, and so on. And then from there, they asked me to go to Malaysia and open up a clinic in Malaysia.
And that's where I'm.
You've been around, Ronald.
Yeah. So I kept the clinic in Singapore going, and I was back and forth. Right? It takes 12 hours by bus to go there, or you fly. Right? Anyway, then I spent 6 years in Malaysia, and her parents were my first patients.
Oh wow!
In Malaysia, they were the first to walk in the clinic. So I helped the mother with the liver problem. And I helped the father with a gout problem. He could hardly walk. He was walking on 2 canes. It was agony. He couldn't walk. It was like glass in his toes, right? And that's because he was eating far too much rich food, like a lot of pork, a lot of fat.
Yeah.
He was just loving it. So, but
I think people don't realize just how much food will impact their health. They don't want to realize it because it might be something they really enjoy. They don't want to give up.
I see so many people who suffer from, say, gout, but they will not give up their pork because they love their pork every day, right? And large amounts of it. And I said, that's one of the causes of gout. No, I love my pork. And they get to the point where they can hardly walk, But I tell you what they can do. They can still open their mouth. But some people.
It's interesting you say that because when I realized that sugar was one of my main problems, it probably took me about 10 years to quit.
Yes.
And that was triggering my eczema and my adult acne. And I didn't realize it until I completely quit. I didn't realize it was causing joint pain
Yes.
and gut problems. And
Yes.
it was only because of helping my son to quit sugar because of his eczema. I saw a difference in my skin and realized just how much massive impact on our health. So that kind of spurred me to learn more.
I'm glad you mentioned sugar, because I think the government here is quite derelict, because there's so many companies that are putting so much sugar in their lemonade, their cordials, their cakes, their biscuits, their bread even, right?
I see it in meat as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
If we put sugar, a lot of sugar in meat.
Especially the barbecue types.
Especially the barbecue type, you know, like and fried chicken. They put a lot of sugar in it, right?
Yeah.
And so for example, the apple pie they make at certain fried chicken places, the apple pie they make is actually 90% pumpkin.
Wow.
And guess what else? 90% pumpkin, about 25% on top of it sugar. And that's where you get the apple pie from. It's not apple pie at all, right? So
I only realized a few weeks ago that mayonnaise has sugar. I've never thought to check the label. Mayonnaise has sugar in it.
Yes.
So we started making our own now for that same reason.
You can make some really delicious mayonnaise with your own eggs, without a doubt, right? So anyway, just to finish off, in say 2000 and about 10 years ago, about 2011, we decided to make a pact of it, and so I started teaching her about 12 years ago. I started teaching her. So and then from then on, she learned how to make better rice, and then I grew 22 fruit trees, 48 herbs, and 16 vegetables
in our back garden.
In our back garden.
Wow.
So we got a corner block. So it was just empty before. It was just like thorns.
Yeah.
And grass, right? So it took me about 6 years to dig everything up and work things out. We just kept a bit of grass, but I'm about to plant the 23rd fruit tree, and I think that will be it. You know, like there's more. We've got two. We have
a big garden, do you?
Yeah. Well, it's not big, but it's compact, right?
Okay.
So, but there's this exciting part: is that we've got fresh lettuce every night. We've got fresh tomatoes, right? We've got fresh raspberry leaves, fresh raspberries, strawberries, kaffir limes, oregano, marjoram, parsley.
Did you say limes?
Yeah, limes.
Yeah, limes.
You grow your own limes?
Yep. Yeah.
In the UK?
Yep.
That's amazing.
And lemons as well.
I'm the sort of person, if somebody says, especially if an English person says to me, you can't grow this here, you can't grow that, guess what? Within a 1 day, we figured it out, I can do it, right? And my neighbours told me, you can't grow olive trees here, it's too cold. Guess what? I've got an olive tree 6 years old, 18 feet tall of this. 18 feet tall, right? So that's how potent it is. Now, so we make concoctions with our herbs. For example, we'll make raspberry leaves, olive leaves, and kaffir lime. Right? It's grown in Africa. Kaffir. Right?
Okay.
Kaffir. So this kaffir lime is one of the unique limes. It's very powerful. It's very good. And the leaves are medicinal. Right? Now, if ever you've made a Thai tom yum soup, that's what they put in the tom yum soup to make the taste, the kaffir lime.
Quite a strong flavour, hasn't it?
Yeah. So we've got two of those. And they're about 4 feet long, and about 3 feet wide. So we can have a kaffir lime every single day, right?
Brilliant.
So I've cured coughs with raspberry leaves, olive leaves, and from our tree, and the kaffir lime, right?
Right.
Within 2 days, the cough's gone, and they've been sick for months, right? Just from the backyard, just do it. We've got 8 different types of mint, right? We've got spearmint for tea. We've got normal mint, common mint. We've got chocolate mint. We've got pineapple sage, purple sage, and you know what you use sage for? For the brain, to make the brain work better.
So what would you do with that then? The pineapple
sage. A sage means a wise person. A wise person, sage. It's a French word, sage, et sage.
So how would you use that in your cooking, the sage?
Well, we get the leaves, right? Like purple leaves or green leaves. We wash it, and then we chop it up with a very sharp samurai knife. We chop it up. Or we could use a mortar and pestle. That's also we've got a very powerful mortar and pestle, a big solid one.
Yeah.
And it's a really it weighs about probably 2 or 3 kilos, right? So we put the ginger in there, the chili in there, the kaffir lime, and we smash it up. like that with a mortar and pestle.
Yeah.
And it smells delicious. We put chili. We got homegrown chili.
Yeah.
Right? So we grow courgettes. We grow squash with pumpkin, cucumber, beans, tomatoes.
Wow, you are your garden variety farmers, aren't you?
Absolutely. And the neighbors, they say to you, the only person that has got the entire place garden, every inch of it is garden, every front, side, and back, right? Blackberries. Blackberries. We've got blueberries as well, and we've also got we've got about 60 raspberry plants.
Wow.
Okay. So all these are we teach people how to grow those so she has the benefits.
Fantastic.
So what actually happens is that when we analyze people, the first thing we do is to the iridology every single time. Do the iridology because you see everybody's different. Just to explain to the viewers, iridology is looking at the eyes and the health of the eyes. It's actually looking at the iris, which is a color part. You've got your eyes, but specifically we're looking at the iris, which is a colored part of the eye. Okay. So you've got brown eyes, you've got dark brown eyes, you've got blue eyes, you've got green eyes, and then you've got greenish blue eyes, all of those, right? So 4 or 5 different types of eyes, but essentially the brown is much popular, right? Yeah. The people who are blue-eyed is only 3% of the world population. That's all, okay? But also the blue-eyed people are prone to have lymphatic blockage. Okay, lymphatic blockage, right? That's their problem. People with brown eyes, they tend to have liver problems. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the genetic makeup, liver problems. And then you've got people who get angry, so their liver's upset. There's an emotion. There's got to be a lot of people at the moment, hasn't it? Yeah, exactly. So there's an emotion. I learned that to Chinese medicine. Fantastic stuff. If you're angry, you upset your liver. If your liver is angry, it upsets you. Okay. Your pancreas is sadness and depression. Okay. Your kidneys are your river of life is not flowing for you. In other words, you're angry with your work or your job. Right. Your colon cancer, for example, is bitterness. Right. All of those can as bearing on when we do the iridology, where we see the stress signs. Right? So can you tell me what it is you see in someone's iris when they have eczema? What is causing the problems? Well, the first thing we normally notice is that you'll have stress rings, what I call stress rings. And now you look at my fingers. Can you see that? Yeah. Imagine that's a ripper in the field, right? So in other words, when the soil's flat like that, so they want to put seeds in, so they put the tine like that, this steel tine, and then you drag it like that. So in other words, you create holes in the field. Yeah. The stress ring is like that. So in your eyes, you've got the stress signs where you can see the upper portion of the actual stress, which is up top here, but you know that underneath is a deep penetration into the stress. It's similar to like say tire marks on a patch of leather. Yes. And in other words, it digs. The stress is so deep, it can penetrate into the iris very deep, and that's why you can see the rings on the outside. Okay, and so the more rings they've got, the more stressed they are, right? Okay. And also, if you've got liver problems, you'll see the rings at 740 and 4 o'clock. We're actually talking about this chart. It's called the Iridology Chart. Yes. Okay. The right and left eye. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Now, we've seen so many cases of anger, the anger with a wife, angry with a boyfriend, whatever. And what actually happens is that the liver cops it. The liver suffers from that. Yeah. You've got to be, no matter what happens, you've got to stay very calm and very, 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 very happy with your life, no matter what, right? You'll always find a way out of it if you keep your liver under control. It's really amazing. But a lot of people today, they're so stressed with viruses and the government and taxes and so on. Money problems. They just worry about everything. Right? Yeah, of course. Well, nowadays we definitely do, don't we? Yeah. Are you saying that eczema can be caused by your liver issues as well then? Yes, correct. Because when the liver is toxic, it will send the toxins to your skin. Right. And that's where we've seen so much evidence that if the liver is toxic, the pancreas is toxic, the intestines are toxic, large intestines, small intestines, kidneys, and so on. If they're toxic, it will send the toxicity to your epidermis of the skin, and it will show as acne, as eczema, as psoriasis, and all kinds of skin problems.
Got you. Now, I know you mentioned previously that psoriasis is eczema in a different form, is it? Or is it just at a worse state?
It's a different disease.
Yeah.
It's a different disease. But it is very, very similar to eczema.
Okay.
Eczema is probably a milder form of psoriasis, form, but it still can be very painful. Right?
Yes, it can. I know from my own experience about how eczema can be painful. And I've never had psoriasis.
Right.
But now you've explained that they're both connected. I'd never learned that at all, despite all the visits to the hot doctors and things.
Yeah, well, what happened, eczema, a lot of people got eczema in the back of their knees.
Yes, that's what my son gets his back of his
in the armpits, in the armpits, behind the ears, right?
Yeah.
But psoriasis is more advanced. We've seen cases, been around for 45 years, I said earlier, where the psoriasis in their skin, in their hair, in the scalp, all the way on their face, their neck, under the arms, belly button, just right to their toes, absolutely covered with cracking skin, bleeding.
Yeah.
You've seen it. And the doctors, all they've done is give them drugs.
Or
skin lotion.
Yeah. Yeah. But it seems to be, because I've watched videos of people going through topical steroid withdrawal.
Yes.
Because they've been given so much steroid creams for their eczema.
You see, what people don't realize is that when you take steroids, what actually happens, the steroid sends the toxins back to the liver.
Yeah.
Back to the colon. And then it comes back a week later with a vengeance. Right?
Yeah.
You have to
get temporary relief or temporary.
Very temporary. Very. You have to deal with the toxicity in every part of your body, inside.
Yeah.
And that's what gives you fantastic skin outside.
Yeah.
People think it's a miracle. It's not a miracle. It's using the intelligence.
It's changing your mindset, changing the way you eat.
Yeah. The other good news is that we are so unique is that when we did the Iridology, we spent 2 hours each together, 2 hours. Yeah. So it's 4 hours of work together. Yeah. So it's very thorough. And then we give you 1 month support as well after that. Anytime you have a problem, you want to sort something out, you talk, we answer you.
Fantastic.
So you never get that from a specialist, never. Once he's got the money, he doesn't care less. It's next.
We're more results driven.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. As opposed to time driven.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's how we get so many referrals, because when they know we care about them, they'll say to them, the doctor didn't say that to me. The doctor didn't do this for me. The doctor didn't do that for me.
And that's one thing I do say to people, look, there's no way you can tell your doctor in that 10-minute slot everything that is going on.
It's impossible.
All the symptoms you've got, all the issues. They can't look at you on a whole body scale or holistically and fix your problem. You've got to do it on your own or with the help of people like you.
You know the reason why it happens? The universities today are funded by drug companies.
Yes.
And they control everything. It's in their benefit to control the hospitals and the doctors, because they don't want people to get sick, to get well. They don't.
They make money out of you being sick at the end of the day.
Absolutely. The more sick you are, the more they like it. Simple as that. It's that tough.
And I think it's very difficult trying to get that across to people, because I was one of those people myself. When it came to my son and his eczema, I would go to the doctors as soon as his eczema flared up. Yeah. And expect the doctor to fix it. And it was always they'd give me a cream. And it's only when they said, okay, use a steroids on his face. And I said, no. 10
minutes is an absolute disgusting amount of time to spend with someone sick. That's terrible. You can't even get to the bottom of it. You can't even get near it. Right? So just show this one.
We've done this chart where it actually explains that's the human being composite.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, a lot of people, they think, I've got parents with eczema, so it's genetics, right? And I can't change it. However, our circumstances, any diseases or illness we get, it was also caused by the environment.
Yes.
And there's also the actions that we take.
Yes.
So say, for example, if you're born with eczema or some other skin problem, yes, it's genetics,
Yeah.
However, you can actually control it because 2/3 of it is caused by the environment you're living in and also what actions you take. And this is what we're trying to educate other people as well.
I completely agree with that line of thought. I tell people that as well. Just because you were born with eczema doesn't mean you can't do something about it.
Yes. So to give you an example for myself, for the past 20 years, when I first started, I was living in Malaysia. So I was under my parents' control. So I was eating whatever they gave me. So I couldn't control my environment because I was like a minor, as a child. However, when I came over to UK, I was on my own. So I could actually make my better food choices.
Yes.
And so I can safely say that whatever illnesses that my family may be having because they are following one route, I'm not going to be having the same ones because I've totally followed a different route for the last, 30, 40 years.
Completely agree. I remember saying to my children, I first got ill when I moved away from home, moved to I was at the university, started eating takeaways and just quick meals. And that's when I started getting gut issues.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's also when I was at university, I had my first major allergic reaction to a hair product. That was my body's way of telling me something wasn't right, but I still didn't understand back then.
Yeah.
Still carried on eating rubbish and using rubbish.
Exactly.
And I said to my children, look, when my mother was looking after me, before I left home at 18 and taking the various good quality vitamins and eating good quality Caribbean food, no issues at all. It was only when I moved away that I started getting gut issues and skin issues and all these different things.
So I think one of the questions you wanted to ask us is why are kids or children getting more skin problems?
Yeah, definitely.
You've touched it because, I know, when school children, they leave school, then, before they go home, most of us, we know that the parents, because they are too busy working, they'll give their children pocket money.
Yes.
And during that time on the way home, instead of having a packed lunch or packed dinner, they will actually go to the fried chicken shop, and these are the sorts of food that kids eat anyway. And all these are like deep fried, they're greasy, they're fried in the same oils for weeks and months.
Months on end.
And chips and things like that.
And they're also industrial seed oils, aren't they, as well?
Exactly.
I've seen absolute evidence right here where we live in a shopping centre, right here. The kids from the school at 3 o'clock when they knock off, they go to the chicken shop, they buy six to 10 chicken wings each for £2.
Yeah.
From the he makes a fortune. They
made it affordable to the kids, haven't they? So they're going to want to
and I spoke to one of the kids who was quite cooperative, and I said to him, how come you're buying food from this shop? And he said, we're hungry. I said, where do you get the money for? He said, my mum gives us £2 every day and says, buy some food. Buy some food, right? That's what she says. So the mum doesn't know he's eating chicken wings.
Yeah.
Right? Between 6 and 10 chicken wings, full of grease and fat, and they eat everything, including the skin. And guess what? Every school kid I interviewed, about 50 of them, all had acne. Every one of them. Right? Yeah. And as Patrina said, they get the money, mum's not there, dad's not there. They're not going to go and buy an apple with that. They're not.
Of course they're not. Yeah. Of course they're not. They're going to follow the crowd. They're going to follow their friends, aren't they?
They're going to buy the fried chicken. Yeah. But they're favourite because it's cheap and full.
It's very cheap and it's rubbish, isn't it? So
you know how much it costs to get a chicken wing? 10 pence.
There you go.
10 pence to buy it. To make
my son starts my son starts senior school this coming September.
Yeah.
And I've said to him, look, I can't control what you eat out of the house.
Yes.
So all I know is when your skin goes downhill, I'll know why. So you can't exactly hide it. Because I've been able to control his eczema for a good few years now.
I think over in UK, I'm just trying to compare when I was brought up in Malaysia. In Malaysia, I was actually not given pocket money. I was given like packed lunch.
Yeah.
Good or bad, but it was actually packed lunch.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of my schoolmates were actually given money. We had like a school canteen, so you could actually eat there as well. Well, so I know that in UK, especially in schools, it's like school dinners.
Yes.
So you can't really control what they are going to be served at the canteen. So I think that's part of the reason why as well the kids are not making the best choices in terms of.
They're not going to if they can do whatever they want with that money, they're going to. Simple as that. They're kids after all.
The thing that's very relevant to us is that we have seen so much evidence of this in the last 10 years. When the kids come to visit us and they see what we're about, they see our skin, they see our energy, they see our garden, they are so impressed right, they realize that that's where the answer lies. In other words, no acne, no bad skin. They realize we've got the answer to their problem. And
it's interesting again what you just said about the no acne, because as a teenager myself, I didn't really get acne, but I had like rashes on my face.
Yes.
And my dad would say, "What are those things on your face?" And I was like, "Well, I'm a teenager. That's what happens in this country." He's like, "Well, I never got them." So my mother never had acne. My father never had it. My aunties, my grandparents never had acne. So I was probably me and my siblings were probably the first ones to get it. Being born here and being schooled in the UK in Manchester. Again, it was only as an adult looking back thinking, if my parents didn't have it, then why did I have it? And that was the first generation of children really getting spots. Because of the change in the food. You've gone from being able to go to the shop, like you said. So that was my first experience of my eczema. But in my family, genetically, it did exist because I had other siblings and cousins and aunties with eczema. But again, it's only whilst I've been learning things about how to look after my eczema and what foods not to eat or what skincare not to use, that I've seen a massive difference in the last few years than at any other point in my life.
Well, you've got it in one, but the problem we've seen with parents, the parents sometimes don't quite know how to handle that problem because they your mum and dad, right? So what do you know? So that's the issue. When they come to people like us, we've got the authority and the wisdom.
They see you as the expert, so they're going to listen, aren't they?
And they'll be fascinated by what they see. When they look at their own eyes, they'll be fascinated, and that's what makes them turn around. I've seen kids talk to me afterwards and say, "Listen, I'd like you to teach me what you do." They say that.
So they're willing to listen, aren't they?
They're willing to listen. That's what makes it so exciting to see someone change their lives. And this is why we spend so much time with people. But that would be the way we'd look at it.